Hello and welcome again to the Friday Wrap for March 31st. I can't believe another week has already passed by. Well, it's a pretty busy week around the village, but I want to tell you about one very special event that happened this week in the village. We have some very special training going on at over C&H Industrials. And it was by an organization called C.O.P.S., which stands for Concerns of Police Survivors. We had over 200 people attending, mostly police officers, to go through training to understand how to handle the very difficult parts of the job. It's actually the official title is Traumas of Law Enforcement Training. And knowing how tough that last day would be, where they really dealt with police suicide, how to deter it, how to recognize it, how to handle it. I actually penned some closing comments that Sergeant Michael Burns was kind enough to read before they left, in an effort to just show how much we appreciate what they do and how much we depend on them. So it was great training. C&H Industrials certainly rose to the occasion, so did the village, so our village staff, the police department. It was phenomenal, and hats off to C&H for being such a big part of that. This week at the village board, we appointed a new trustee. The board unanimously appointed a gentleman that I nominated, Joseph T. Snyder, otherwise known as Joe Snyder. He owns Snyder Insurance over in Darien. He brings with him an abundance of experience. Back 10 years ago, he was on the COD board. Plenty of corporate and bank board experience, and a great addition to the board. Welcome, Joe. He had family and friends in attendance, and immediately after, he was able to take a seat at the dais. In addition, this week I had a fundraiser, my only one before the big election on Tuesday. But we must have had 50, 60 people show up over at Capri. Many of the residents of Burr Ridge, and it always amazes me whenever I'm involved around the community that we are a small town with a deep bench. I'm just humbled and impressed by so much of the success of so many of these supporters, but that was a lot of fun too. But speaking of which, there's a very important election going on this Tuesday. It's called the consolidated election, and because it's not held with the governor and the presidential election, etc. in November, a lot of people don't show up. But these are critical roles that affect our daily lives, and I have with me here today a gentleman by the name of Greg Boltz. He is running for the Township Assessor, really the real estate assessor, and I've known Greg for probably 10, 20 years now. I thought it was important for you to understand a little more about the role and about the qualifications that he brings to the table. Greg, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Mayor. It's great to be here. I truly appreciate it. And yes, the election's coming up on April 4th. It's just a few days away now. And I think it's really important for people to understand that the assessor is a critical position for every single person in Downers Grove Township. The role of the assessor is to actually determine the property value used for applying the real estate levies across the entire township. So every single person, whether they rent, own, whatever, the real estate taxes are part of the burden that they have to pay for their role.
I'll tell you, better thee than me, because with all those numbers and stuff, I don't want anything to do with it. But that role of assessor is so critical, isn't it?
Yes, it absolutely is. And I think one of the key things is, but my background. I'm a CPA with 30 years experience in finance and real estate. For the last 20 years, one of the key things that I do for my company that I work for is to actually do valuations of properties. And there's 67,000 parcels in the township. So all that has to be looked at on a yearly basis to make sure people are treated in a fair and transparent fashion. And something I always like to talk about, Mayor, is that it's not just the technical and analytical side, but it's also the people side. People come in, resident comes in and they're upset about their valuation of their property. You need to be able to listen to them, hear what they have to say, and solve their problem. If it can be fixed, great. If not, have them understand. And that's one of the things I do for the company that I work for. We manage quite a bit of properties. Residents, tenants will call, complain. I'm the last person they go to when they've gone all the way up through the corporate chain to come to me, and I'm known to be the person that can listen to them and understand and hear what they have to say, and they walk away saying, you know what? They listen. So that's absolutely critical. And I think one of the other things that's absolutely critical is our state's in trouble, Mickey. I mean, we've talked about it so many times about what are we going to do to change things. So I've announced that I will be turning down the pension that's associated with this position. And I truly believe that fixing Illinois starts at home, and I'm ready to do it for every resident in Downers Grove.
Well, that's great, Greg. Like I said, better thee than me. You have a tough job ahead of you. I know you have it's a tight race. And unlike my own, where I don't have any opponents this time, I just want to let residents know how important it is during this election. It's a consolidated election. The role that Greg is running for is critical, as are so many others. Please get out on Tuesday and support Greg Boltz. I know I am. And I want to thank you again for joining me for the Friday Wrap this week. Have a great and blessed week.